Yo, what is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video, and in today's video, we're going to be doing another tier list. And this tier list is going to be way different than last tier list. It's going to be less of a serious topic and more of a fun topic. And that topic is, which jobs are just fun to play? Yes, we're doing an updated fun tier list for Final Fantasy XIV. And with all that being said, go ahead and just subscribe to the channel. Come on, it's free, doesn't take much of a time. This is my only call to action. And also be sure to go check out my Twitch channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. Also, go ahead, give it a follow and just like the video. With all said and done, be sure to have a good day. And here we are, right up in today's video. Okay, so let's start with the jobs I'm more familiar with, and that's the Reaper. The Reaper, man, they really made this job to perform and be fun to play. The job does great damage, it's fast paced, its positionals aren't too crazy, its aesthetics, everything really just makes you enjoy the job. And ultimately, that's why I would put this job as the S tier of fun jobs to play. There's no doubt about it. I have the most fun on Reaper than I really ever have. But there are some other jobs that are also really fun to play. But I will put the Reaper as the God tier fun because it's fun, does the damage, and it's easy. Easy does really truly equal fun for most. Now, another job I've experienced a lot on, and that is the Ninja. And the Ninja's fun. It brings a lot to the table. Makes you feel like you really are from Naruto Shippuden. But sometimes the Ninja feels a little bit clunky with its mudras. Sometimes you hit a little bit of a ping spike or a server tick, and it really just throws off the feel. And sometimes you just hit your mudras too many times, and then you got a little rabbit on your head, and kind of reduces how much fun you have on the job. When if a server ticks, it really can mess you up pretty good. So that's why I would put the Ninja as A tier. And I know we're gonna kind of flying through this so far, but these are jobs I'm like really confident in where I'd put them. And I think the Ninja, if it didn't really worry about ping, server issues and all that, it would be an S tier job. But I've had so many problems with just like the mudras and stuff, and maybe that's just my internet. Maybe there's too many things going on, and maybe I'm not connecting to the server too well at that time. But there are times I have server ticks that just mess me all up. Another job that I play a lot that I have a good amount of fun on is the Dragoon. And I think the Dragoon is an S tier. The reason why I think it's an S tier is who doesn't like jumping around, flying around, crashing down, and looking badass. The Dragoon is what the Reaper... No, change it. The Reaper is the upgraded form of the Dragoon. And the Dragoon is also just looking at the Reaper thinking, man, we're fun. The Reaper's a little bit more fun. But boy, we fly. The Reapers don't. It is the flying Reaper. Yeah, you can be what's called as a floor tank and all that, but that's a dead meme, let's be honest. Well, we ain't got many people playing the Dragoon that hardcore, but the Dragoon is an S tier job when it comes to fun. There is no way you can tell me that you don't like jumping in, jumping out, jumping back in, crashing down, just feeling like you are a dragon. And that's why I think the Dragoon is an S tier. So far we've been picking the jobs. I've played a lot. And I think it's fair to say that what I'm doing so far is accurate to me. Now I'm going to take a little pause from this and say all jobs are fun to play in this game, and they're all valuable. This is a very subjective list on what I find fun. I don't want anybody getting upset. I don't want anybody this is in the comment section typing up, this is a terrible tier list. You put this job in C tier. when it's really fun for me, but I don't know how other people feel about it. It all tier lists are subjective no matter what the topic is. That's just how it goes. Let's stop the unnecessary hate on stuff. If you have fun on your job, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what I think about your job. Okay? Now that we've done said that, another job I have good amount of fun on is the Bard. I think the Bard is a solid A tier. The reason I think the Bard is only an A tier is mainly to the fact that the Bard has a lot going on. You got to keep up your songs, you got to keep up your dots. It's not hard, but with all that going on, you kind of find yourself lost in how much fun you can have, really. Truly, if this job was a little bit more simpler, and I'm not asking them to make it simple, I'm just saying it's not an S tier because you have a lot going on, and a lot of your abilities rely on a proc, and you don't get the proc if your dot doesn't tick. So it's kind of, the job relies on its dots to tick. That way you can get a proc on your song so you can use an ability. So it's a whole lot of running around shooting an arrow, and it's not as rewarding as other jobs are. So you're having fun, but you're not getting the rewards that a ninja would get, or a reaper would get, or a dragoon gets. You're just not. You're missing out on the rewarding part of it. But it is a fun job to just run around and say, look at me. And the instrument edition that allows you to play instruments, that's cool. I wouldn't say that's fun. I don't really get fun out of that. But I mean, it's cool. Now, time for another job I'm very into, and that is the summoner. Now, the summoner is a B tier, mainly because I like that they changed the summoner up a lot. I really do. But there's just something, it doesn't feel rewarding. It doesn't feel like I do the damage I need to do. And for me, like, I want to have fun and also be useful. But I guess the damage doesn't really keep it from being fun. So let's think of a better way for me to describe this. The job is more just click and run, click and run, click and run. And that's not really how I feel like I want to play that job. The summons are cool, but I don't really have fun on it. There's like something missing. And I really think it's the fact that it doesn't reward you in any way. And this is not any slight to the summoner mains out there. It just doesn't feel rewarding like a ninja or a reaper or a dragoon. And it's just not as fun as a bard. It's missing its soul. It doesn't have an identity. Like, you're the summoner, but you're really missing the identity of what makes you the summoner. Like, you got new upgraded summons, and you be like, oh yeah, you're a summoner, that's cool, that's cool. But when you play, you don't feel like you're the summoner. And that's a whole lot to build into the fun. If you don't feel like what you're doing is your job, then it's just missing something. And I think it's missing an identity. And when I play it, I just feel like I'm playing a carcass of a job. It's still not terrible. It's still pretty good to play, but it just feels like it's missing something. Now on to the Black Mage. I do not have fun on the Black Mage. I'm really debating on putting it a low B or high C. I'll put it B. The Black Mage to me is a lot of knowledge you gotta have. And that's not to say, like, if you play Black Mage, this is you. The Black Mage takes a lot of knowledge to play and be very good on. You have to know all your boss encounters because you really do stand there. and you gotta know where to put your ley lines, when to go back to your ley lines, what's the upcoming next tank buster, all that. You really gotta know if you're in the right position. Positioning is everything for this job, and if you do not know your encounters, you're really in a terrible situation. Because it is a stand still and click type job. And the effects you have on your abilities, that's cool. But it is really just a stand and click job. And it takes a lot of knowledge to perform very well on this job. And that's why it's a B tier. It just takes too much knowledge. And I think if you're skilled, you're probably having a blast on this job. But I don't think it's very noob friendly. I think new players will struggle to have fun on that job, which is why I find a lot of people get off of Black Mage early on because they don't like how still they gotta stand. And they're not too into the game yet, so they don't really understand some of the mechanics. Next job is the Scholar. Scholar C tier. I do not have fun on this job. The fairy mechanics really kind of bother me. They're hit and miss. I sometimes find myself finding my fairy just standing there, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I gotta heal everybody, which I'm fine with. But sometimes I just feel like the fairy just stands there. I don't like the pet mechanics in the game. I think it needs to kind of be updated and revolutionized to where it actually feels like you're using your summons as a pet and they're actually helping. I don't think I played the summoner all through A Realm Reborn and into Heaven's Ward, and I did not have fun. I did not have fun, and it made me switch my job, and that's when I became a Dragoon and beat Heaven's Ward, and then I went to Ninja. But that's just trying to help myself remember that. I do not have fun. Compared to other healers, I have more fun on the other healers. I really do. The Scholar is just bleh. It makes you feel like you just don't want to be there. It really does. It's not very rewarding as a job. It's a C tier to me. And the Machinist. The Machinist feels like an A tier. It's an A tier. It is much like the Bard, but it doesn't really have to deal with dots. So you're really just free to run around summoning a mech and blowing things up. Which is cool. But it's not an S tier just because, once again, it's not as rewarding as some S tier jobs. There's something about them S tier jobs that just make me feel like, oh yeah, this is rewarding. I am the best job to play if I want to have fun. And I just don't find the Machinist that fun. I think it's fun to play. It's not Reaper fun. It's not Dragoon fun. Them are really the jobs. If I tell people to play the game, they really gotta. Dragoon keeps you in the game for a while, and then you hit Heaven's Ward, and it really keeps you in the game. The Machinist is just missing, and I keep yawning for some reason, and it's killing me. But the Machinist is just missing something. Its rewarding factor, it's there, but it's very little. Now, if you do Palace of the Dead with it, that'll really show you that the Machinist can be rewarding, because that's really a good job to take through Palace of the Dead or Heaven on High. But that is not factored into this, and I just figured I should shout out that, hey, try Palace of the Dead or Heaven on High solo. It's fun. It does get frustrating, but hey, try it out. It's another feature in the game people need to start pumping in a little bit more. I know it was big for one time, but starting to fall back down. I wish it'd go back up. Go back up, because I really enjoy watching people do solo runs of Palace of the Dead. And now we move on to the next job. And that is, let's pick the Dancer. I think Dancer's S tier. I've had fun on the Dancer with my limited play on the Dancer, I had fun. The Dancer was fun to me. I didn't think it was like the Bard or the Machinist. I thought it was a little bit more rewarding than that. Plus, you're pretty much dancing the entire time while killing enemies, and who doesn't like dancing? Dancing is the music to the soul. But on the serious note, Dancer's fun to play. It's rewarding in the fact that you can really increase the damage, your highest DPS on your team really well. It's a little lackluster in some of its rewarding factors. Like, it's not near as rewarding as the Dragoon, but it has what the other ranged DPS are missing, and that's just, you have a purpose. It feels like the identity of the job is there, while the other two are just like, I have a gun, I have a bow, I summon mechs, I use dots. It's like, okay, I play songs. It's their soul identity need to kind of be like strengthened, because they just kind of feel lossless. You're just kind of there. And that's my problems with the Machinist and Bard. Let's go to the Monk. The Monk. The job I scrutinize the most because I have the least amount of time on. But with that being said, the Monk is really going to perform well on this tier list, because the Monk is an S tier job to play if you want to have fun. It's not as hard as it once was. The positionals are a lot less. It has rewarding factors, very much so, in this current patch 6.08, and it really is fun to play. And I know in my last tier list I ranked it pretty low, and the last tier list was meta based, and I get it's not a C tier job. It's not on that tier list, but on this tier list it is an S tier, because I have fun on the Monk. I really do. It's not a job I play too often, but I have fun on it. Boy, do I have fun on it. And it really makes me feel like I'm in Mortal Kombat or Dragon Ball Z or anything else. The job really has an identity. Really feels good to play. And I just have fun on it. That's really all it is. I have fun playing the Monk. I'm not the biggest fan of playing the Monk seriously, because it really does require a lot of skill to get the damage than other jobs if I'm trying to be the best of the best I can be. But it's fun to play if I'm like, hey, I just want to go punch some shit. That's the job I go to. Let's move on. Let's do a tank. Dark Knight. I love the Dark Knight. It's not an S tier, but I love how fun the Dark Knight is. Actually, no. It's kind of gone down on how fun it is. I'll put it a B tier, because it's a tank. Does the best damage as a tank. But the main problem it has is it's a squishy tank now. And it really dies too easy compared to the other tanks, which is why I had to move it down from an A tier to B tier, because it's just too squishy for a tank. You can't do tank things on that job. It doesn't have the sustain of a warrior either, so it really does need a healer sometimes. So the Dark Knight used to be an A tier. It's a B tier now. I love the job though. I really wish it was an S tier. This is like my go-to tank to play. But it's sadly a B tier. It's just too squishy now. It lost its fun. It's just too squishy. It's a squishy tank, and you don't need a squishy tank. Let's do another tank. The Gunbreaker. I'm going to put Gunbreaker A, almost C. The reason I will not put the Gunbreaker at C is continuation. Continuation throws me off when I play this job. This is the one tank that I look at its rotation, I'm like, oh, I gotta deal with continuation. I don't like continuation. It throws everything off to me. I might just be dumb. I might not know how to play the job. It's that skill just pisses me off. I don't know if I'm the only one or if everybody agrees with me. I don't think the Gunbreaker is the funnest tank to play. I really don't. I think the Gunbreaker is fun. It's fast-paced. It's cool. It's flashy. But with its skills, continuation really throws off the fun. Because then you got to sit there and you got to think about what you're going to do with it. And sadly, just its skills alone keep it from being an S tier. Let's do some more healers. Astrologian. Astrologian used to be real low on my chart. I'll put Astrologian B tier. I think Astrologian's a B tier mainly because I still don't fully understand the job's kit, which is weird, but it is the healer I've touched the least. All the other ones I've spent really good time playing. Just that's the one I've played the least. So it kind of just throws me off on the cards and all that. And I don't like the idea of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! While I'm playing Final Fantasy. All jokes aside. It's a fun job. It's just not near as fun as the other healers or any of the other jobs I've ranked so far. It's one of them jobs that I look at and I'm like, I don't think I can recommend that to new players because it takes a little bit of learning for you to get the rewarding factor out of it. And some of the other jobs in the game get it sooner. And I mean, I'd rather have you have more fun earlier on. That way you stick to the game. Now we're just going to do it how they're in order on this chart. And Paladin. Paladin's in the same boat as the Dark Knight. I love them two jobs. Them are the two tanks that I mainly play when playing tank. I used to love playing the Paladin. The Paladin is missing some things. It's supposed to be the bright and shiny knight. And it just kind of feels like it's a knight. It takes a lot of damage. It's really good at just standing there. But it's slapping you with a pull noodle. It's not really doing much to you. It's kind of just like, It's like, okay, so you stop swinging the pull noodle at me. It's not hurting. It lacks damage. And I keep bringing damage up, and I don't think it's a good qualifier for fun. But if you're standing there and your job's not doing damage, and you're a tank, and you're just kind of like, this is about to be the longest run in a dungeon because I do not have damage and everybody else on my team is a dancer or they're some weaker job. I don't have a heavy DPS like Reaper, Monk, or Samurai. Hell, or a Red Mage. The Red Mage I think does real good right now. But just really feels like you're a dude running around with a pull noodle. That's all you've got is a pull noodle. Which, I mean, I guess if you're going to the pull, that could be fun. The Red Mage. Much like the Dragoon, it is a fun job to play. You jump a lot. You've got to deal with melee and casting, which adds a little bit of flavor to it. So you got that little flavor in it. The Red Mage is definitely an A tier. It's fun. It doesn't ever really get repetitive to me. A lot of these jobs kind of get repetitive, like the Summoner and Black Mage. Or the Scholar. The Scholar's repetitive. But it's just not... Something about the Red Mage keeps me away from the Red Mage. And I guess that's balancing the magics. The black and white magics, I believe it is. You gotta balance, I think. I'm pretty sure it is. But you gotta balance them, and that just kind of keeps me away from the job. I think it's the only job that has to balance something. And I think I'm wrong. I think I'm just blanking on that. But it's just not that fun to me. Sage. Sage is nice too. I love playing the Sage. Just the aesthetics, the sound, the way it moves, the way you're... Just the way your character looks. It's such a good class. They really did do a stand-up job on designing the 6.0 classes. I think the Reaper and Sage are what a lot of these jobs, when bringing them into the game, should have been. They're really cool. And they did a good job on making them matter. The Reaper, everybody loves playing, and it does a good job. Sage, everybody likes playing the Sage if they're a healer, and does a good job. Now, of course, there's some people that don't like playing the Sage that still play one of the older healers. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the Sage, I definitely get more fun out of the Sage than any of the other healers. I'm just going to say that out the gate. Spoiler alert, I love the Sage. It's fun to me. It's probably the best healer for me to play. And that's what I'm leaving on. Now on to the Samurai. The Samurai, to me, is a B tier job. The Samurai to me is a B tier job. I don't have the most fun on this job, mainly because it has cast times. It is a melee, and it has cast times. I don't get that. Like, the Samurai should be fast-paced. It should almost be like the Monk, but with a sword. It shouldn't have as many cast times as it does. And I just think it kind of needs a rework in that sense. I don't want a melee caster. I really don't. I don't like the fact that you're standing there and you're like, now go. No, that's not it. That's not a Samurai. I think that needs to be changed. I don't like the fact that you're casting as a Samurai. That should not happen. And that's really what keeps me from having fun on the job, is it should not be casting. It needs to be fast-paced. And that's that. That's my complaint, and that's why it's a B tier. It should not be casting. It should be fast-paced, fun to play. And it's just not that. It's fun, but it's not super fun like it should be. I should have just as much fun on it as the Dragoon, Monk, or the Reaper. It should be exactly like them. It should have some casting, but I feel like I spend most of my time casting on that job, and I don't like that. Now the Warrior. Warrior's S tier. Warrior's S tier because you just run around swinging an axe going, ah! You have the sustain, so you don't need anybody else. You're really just leading your way through the dungeon. You are just running, screaming, hacking, slacking, and it's fun. There's nothing boring about being an actual tank that can sustain itself. That is fun. Ain't nobody arguing with that. That is fun. That job is, just put on the Attack on Titan theme song and just run and scream. You'll have fun. That job's just fun. The Warrior's S tier. Now time for the last job. The White Mage. White Mage is a B tier for this one. The White Mage's B tier is because it has mana problems right now. It really does. And if you're going to be a healer and you use a lot of mana, you can't have mana problems. That's just a no-go. Like, I can't have fun on a job if I'm worried about something. I can't have that in the back of my head if I'm trying to have the most fun on it. It is the more accessible healer, but it's just not the funnest. It is a B tier. I think a couple things need to be changed on the healers. I think the tanks need a little bit of a tweak to get them all on the same thing. The melee DPSs, they're kind of everywhere right now when it comes to fun. The casters are pretty much all close to each other, but I think the Black Mage, you really can't do much about it but buff its damage, and the Summoner pretty much the same. And the Red Mage is in a good spot. But the White Mage is a B tier fun job. And this is my tier list for which jobs are the funnest to play in Final Fantasy XIV or Final Fantasy XIV online. And with that being said, I hope you have a good day. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to leave a comment down below on what you would like to see next, and have a good day. Peace.